Change your socks! Hey!
The Lost Art with Andrew Cox podcast. Marine Corps League and Till Valhalla Project Ambassador. Now streaming on all major podcast platforms. Thanks for tuning in to the podcast that's given a voice to our veterans. The Lost Art with Andrew Cox. Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Lost Art Podcast, that podcast giving a voice to our veterans. I'm your host, Andrew Cox, and today we're having another veteran story, a continuation with Mike Fallon. But before we get into the episode, are you enjoying the podcast? And make sure you go to the website. That's the lostart.podbean.com. Go check us out, see what we're all about. There's a couple ways you can help support us. You can become a patron with a monthly donation. You can go in there and get you some cool merchandise. That helps support us as well. And if there are any businesses out there that would like to advertise on the podcast, you can always email me, the Lost Art with Andrew Cox at gmail.com, and we can work something out for sure. Big shout out to the Till Valhalla Project out there doing amazing things. If you don't know anything about them, you need to go check them out. And even if you do, you need to go see all the new things that they have going on there. So go hit them up on their website. That's tillvalhallaproject.com. Are you a Marine veteran? Are you missing that bond you had on active duty? Then I have a place for you. Join the only congressionally chartered Marine Corps Veteran Service Organization, the Marine Corps League. Get that brother and sisterhood back in your life. Become one of the fewer, the prouder, a Marine Corps League member. All right, we're back here. Sorry about that. I was jumping around. My cats were jumping all crazy, knocking stuff over. But I apologize. But Mike, how you doing?
I'm having a good day, AJ. How about you?
Oh, I can't complain at all. It's been nice here. You know, it's just another wonderful day.
Like to hear that. Really like to hear that.
Well, if you want, we can just jump right back into it, and we'll just do that. How's that sound?
Well, I appreciate that, AJ. And last episode, I was having difficulty between amphibious and expeditionary, the two words that are the middle word of our cornerstone MAGTAFs. Yes, lady,
Right.
another acronym, MAGTAF, Marine Air Ground Task Force.
Mm-hmm.
So on 1 July 1987, a little known general that we all know named Al Gray became Commandant of the Marine Corps.
Mm-hmm.
And General Gray, when he had FMF Lant, and prior to that, had been the general that was pushing special operations capabilities for the Marine Corps. And at that time, there was not a MARSOC, Marine Special Operations Command.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a big debate on whether there should be or whether all Marines were special operators. Under Gray's tutelage over a long run of years,
Mm-hmm.
he developed the special operations capabilities that are associated with the Marine Expeditionary Unit. And that's the unit that's another MAGTAF. It's the smallest of three MAGTAFs, built around a battalion landing team, an aviation squadron, and a logistics group. And in today's Marine Corps, it is embarked on a three-ship ARG, amphibious ready group. Now,
Mm-hmm.
pre-Al Gray, these organizations and MAGTAFs were called amphibious. So the little one was called a MAU, M-A-U, Marine Amphibious Unit.
Right.
The mid-sized MAGTAF was called a MAB, Marine Amphibious Brigade,
Mm-hmm.
and the daddy was called a MAF, Marine Amphibious Force. And so in Vietnam, we fought under three MAF, 3rd
Okay.
Marine amphibious force that had for 4 of the 5 years command of all of the I Corps. At one time, had 4 divisions under its umbrella,
Oh,
two
wow.
Army divisions, 2 Marine Corps divisions. When General Gray became commandant, he felt he needed a more expansive concept and a more expansive word than just amphibious, because a lot of people understood amphibious as taking the beach.
Right.
And while the Marines still take the beach, the word expeditionary describes what the 911 force does. It goes overseas and it does windows, whatever the country wants, and it does special operations capable missions such as raids, where you have a planned entry and a planned withdrawal. In my opinion, the keystone operation of these units was a NEO, non-combat evacuation operations. And
Right.
General Gray had cut his teeth on 2 NEOs in 1975. Frequent Wind was the NEO that pulled the American embassy and then thousands of Vietnamese out of Vietnam in April of 1975, shortly followed by Eagle Pull that cleaned out the embassy in Cambodia. So General Gray in 1988 changed Marine Corps doctrine and changed the word amphibious for our 3-sized MAGTFs to expeditionary.
Right.
Now the little MAGTF is Marine Expeditionary Unit. The middle size MAGTF is the Marine Expeditionary Brigade. Big one is the MEF, Marine Expeditionary Force. And I wanted to get those 3 straightened out before we started into where we were going today. We left off with in the summer of 1990, where I was when I was sitting as the executive officer of the 1st Marine Regiment, who was responsible for training the 4 rifle battalions, 11, 21, 31, and 19,
Right.
to prepare them to drop and chop over to the Marine Expeditionary Units on the West Coast, 11, 13, or 15 Marine Expeditionary Units. So the regiment was a training home ground. When you went operational, the battalion went and floated with the Marine Expeditionary Unit. So on 4 July, tomorrow's 4 July.
Yeah, that's right.
Be 4th of July, AJ.
Yeah, happy 4th to you as well.
I hope Oklahoma has fireworks.
Oh yeah, my girls are actually going tonight to shoot off fireworks at my sister-in-law's house. So
that 2 nights in a row is all right.
Yeah,
shoot them one night, watch them one night.
Yeah.
We always end our evening watching TV and channel surfing to catch, like, the Boston Pops plays a symphony to the fireworks over Boston Harbor.
Right.
And so now you get this world-class orchestra playing a symphony in your living room, and you don't have to drive, and you can have what we call, amongst the little kids, an adult what are you doing, Dad? An adult beverage. That is an adult beverage. And we like to catch the Boston. We like one of our favorites is watching the fireworks over the harbor in Sydney, Australia.
Oh,
They
yeah.
They always light up the bridge down there, put it to music. I digress. It's 4 July 1990, and Colonel Jimmy McClung, I guess James McClung, he departs the 1st Marine Regiment after 2 years. The new colonel comes in. It's a new team. And I am the XO and available for the summer with the right clearances, having just come off the division staff.
Mm-hmm.
I lead a cell of warriors made up of people that got picked, I guess, mainly around 1st Marine Regiment staff and some people that were just got there or leaving that were available.
Mm-hmm.
And we go along with a very large cell of the 1st Marine Division staff, and we all go to Tampa, Florida on 8 July, so after our 4th of July weekend,
Mm-hmm.
to participate in a war game called Internal Look 90. And Internal Look was a war game exercise
Mm-hmm.
run by the U.S. Central Command every year in the summer, where they did this exercise with computer support and maps of the actual Central Command area, and it's classified exercise, and
Right.
shook out whichever portion of the operation plan the Central Command commander at that time in 90, it was General Schwarzkopf, and he said he wanted to shake out the O Plan 1002, kind of the Marine Corps' position as it entered down into Saudi Arabia.
Right.
And so from 9 July to 4 August, my cell, we got the night shift because I was Lieutenant Colonel, pretty junior. The main cell was the G3 Colonel
Mm-hmm.
and a covey of Lieutenant Colonels from the division and some from the Marine Expeditionary Force playing the Marine component. So above the Marine Expeditionary Force, there's a Marine component command in
Okay.
each of our major war plans to take care of the Marine Corps stuff and getting you there and getting you home and to represent the Marine Corps to the national level,
Mm-hmm.
while the Marine Expeditionary Force looked down at the warfighting terrain and fought the war with the beans and bandages and the real bullets.
Mm-hmm.
So we shook out that plan. At the end of the period there, it was heating up in Iraq, and in fact, Saddam invaded on 2 August
Mm-hmm.
while we were still there. And so the hot wash up went, hot wash is what you do. It's the immediate after action critique of all the players instead of a formal written report that comes
Right.
much later on. Sometimes the exercise sponsors want to hear from the horse's mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the hot wash up turned into a 2-day event to Schwarzkopf. And so
Oh wow.
he said, okay, you gentlemen, and he kept them all, everybody, the little guys and the big guys.
Mm-hmm.
To his credit, you just finished exercising this war plan. We're going to take our time in this hot wash up while we're doing real world stuff. And so in the morning, there'd be like a hot wash up. And I remember a colonel by the name of Chuck Lohman, rest in peace. He was the representative from 7th MEB, Marine
Okay.
Expeditionary Brigade. And the 7th MEB was the Marine Corps' get out of town desert fighters.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're getting the word back at 29 Palms that they're leaving. And the Marine Corps, it was the only service that did this, The CENTCOM blew the whistle and called all the planners in,
Mm-hmm.
and the planners are the 5 shop, to start the detailed planning of deploying with the D, from the United States to Saudi Arabia.
Right.
And General John I. Hopkins and 3-star General Boomer said, Chuck Lohman speaks for the Marine Corps. And so he, in those very early days in the first week of August, claimed the port of Al Jabail and the big airfield next to it as the Marine Corps' port of debarkation and airfield point of debarkation
Yeah.
in Saudi Arabia.
Wow.
And
Okay.
the Army reps all had to go back to their commands, the heavy Army coming out of Fort Bliss, and have a discussion on what they could claim. And what that did, it was the newest, biggest, bestest port you ever wanted to see. And 7th MEB relies on the Maritime Prepositioning Force,
Mm-hmm.
which is we had 3 squadrons of 3 ships each, and some of the squadrons had 5 ships, counting the ammo ship. That ammo ship was just ammo. Who would want to
Wow.
be I want to be an engineer on the ammo ship.
That'd be rough.
But the deal is the MPF squadrons got the word to start steaming, and they could go full bore because they already had their port.
Yeah.
And so the SLRP, SLRP, that's an acronym,
Yeah.
and it's the group of Marines that flies in and prepares the port and the MPF ships to offload them. So as 7th MEB is flying in by chartered aircraft and C-141s
Mm-hmm.
into Saudi Arabia, they can unload the MPF ships and get their Humvees, get their 155 howitzers for the artillery
Right.
battalion that belonged to 7th MEB, get a full load of tanks from the tank battalion, a full load of AAA or double AVs. So
Mm-hmm.
the heavy equipment comes by MPF.
Right.
And that happened all in the first week of August because the Marine Corps practiced it.
Mm-hmm.
We did it in war games, and then we trusted our people. Chuck Lohman had been the man in internal look. He had been the G3, or he was the OPSO for 7th MEB, and they said, well, just stay there for a couple of days and represent us and make the right decisions. Ultimately, about 2.5 months later, when 7th MEB and 1st MEB that flew out of 1st MEB flew out of Hawaii after 7th MEB
Mm-hmm.
and linked up with another squadron of MPF ships, when they composited those two 7th and 1st MEB. Composite's a big word for when the Marine Corps goes 1 unit plus 1 unit equals now a bigger unit.
Right.
They became the 1st Marine Division, and the 1st Division staff flew over
Mm-hmm.
and took over the ground combat units from the 2 MEBs,
Mm-hmm.
the aviation units, fixed wing and helo from the 2 MEBs went to 3rd Marine Aircraft Wing in the compositing, and the staff of the 2 MEBs basically went up and reinforced the 1 MEF staff, and Chuck Lohman became G3 ops in the 1 MEF staff, and there was a triumvirate of Marine colonels in the 1 MEF staff that need to be named. General Boomer brought his personal friend in, former drill instructor, Mustang Marine, Vietnam legend, Billy Steed. And Billy became the G3.
Okay.
And trusted advisor to listen and to think big thoughts and bounce ideas with General Boomer, while G3 Ops took 2 colonels because it runs 24 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
The other was a guy named Buck Bedard. Buck Bedard.
Okay.
And Buck went on and ended up as a 3-star.
Mm-hmm.
Did well. Billy's with me out here in Arizona. Lives up in North Scottsdale, and he and his bride have got a little Arizona ranchette. And
Nice.
Billy has built his ranchette and has got a nice office up there. It's a whole first floor of another building next to the house.
Nice.
It's got a nice pool table in it and a nice beer bar and room for the hundreds of plaques and paddles. Billy was also a infantry recon guy. I think I mentioned Chuck just passed this year.
Mm-hmm.
And Buck is up in Henderson, Nevada, in a assisted living home. It's a step-down home. He's having troubles, but he's still, with his body, he's still sharp as a tack and
Mm-hmm.
holding all of us accountable. So we're in internal look. And so I'm coming back from internal look, and General Monahan had promised me the 1st Battalion, 1st Marines.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not interested in being a planner. I'm interested in getting that battalion. So we get back in 4 August. The battalion change of command is scheduled for 12 August.
Mm-hmm.
So I took some leave time. As my replacement was in, as the XO of 1st Marines, a fine Marine officer named Hugh O'Donnell came in.
Mm.
So the new team is at regiment. I'm a 3rd wheel. I was at internal look doing good things. So I got 5 August, 11 August off. Pretty good deal.
Yeah.
And we had the change of command there at Camp Horno. And for every infantry officer grabbing that flag for an infantry battalion, it's just what you want to do. And I had ideas. I was fortunate to get it in an earlier exercise. I had command a support battalion and had developed by making mistakes
Mm-hmm.
how to optimize the use of the great Marines were given. So, it takes a team. And my first Sergeant Major that was a teammate of mine, Sergeant Major Gray, was down in Houston, Texas. And he saved my career, my life. And I developed a habit, and I better listen to Sergeant Major. I had a great Sergeant Major in support battalion for 2 years, big PT man. And then when I fleeted up, became fast friends with Sergeant Major Overstreet, we talked about last time.
Right.
And so now I'm getting to 1-1 and Sergeant Major Hall. And just another great Sergeant Major. And I had already been on the first cruise. And of course, I hadn't been on a cruise in 20 years.
Right.
So it's nice to have a Sergeant Major that just got back off a float.
Mm-hmm.
Sergeant Major Hall. So it had been 30 years since Vietnam. And so there weren't very many Vietnam vets in the battalion. As it turned out, there were 6 of us. But
Wow.
so 6 of us that had seen combat. And
Holy moly.
of the six, that was 6 in a combat zone. A couple of them hadn't really seen combat,
Mm-hmm.
not to their detriment. I hope that's a real train.
It is a real train. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
They come through here pretty regular. So.
I'd love to sleep at night. For some reason, it's a soothing sound for me to hear a train whistle and the freight cars going by on the railroad tracks. It puts me to sleep.
Yeah. Except for if the whistle is, if you're right next to the tracks, then that's a little different when it whistles. It's pretty loud.
Or if you live near the railroad crossing, where
Yeah.
I think by his protocol or rule book, he's got a whistle. So the S3 that I had to lobby the Marine Corps very hard to get,
Mm-hmm.
because he came off the float, was a captain by the name of Bob Wagner. We call him Daddy Wags because he was older, and the young troops always called young enlisted a little older just to poke them. Wags had been a lance corporal in Headquarters Battalion, 1st Marine Division, the Blue Diamond,
Uh-huh.
on Hill 327 in Vietnam.
Oh, wow.
As an embarkation clerk. And he came back and used the GI Bill and went to Ohio, the Ohio State, as he always told me.
Yeah.
He was a huge Buckeye fan. Got his commission, so he's a Mustang. And on the previous cruise that 1-1 just came back from in July,
Mm-hmm.
everybody was still out on vacation when they were part of 15th MEU. Bob had been the boat company commander, which is the company that conducts the raids
Mm-hmm.
with amphibious IBSs, inflatable boat smalls, which is where you have the challenge in navigation at night over ocean
Mm-hmm.
and pre-GPS, and you had to really be good with a compass and your time distance. And
Right.
so Bob's a known quantity in horse, and I wanted him to be the 3. Headquarters Marine Corps says, well, that's a major's billet in today's Marine Corps. We have to give you a major. Wagner can't be the 3. Plus, we want to send him somewhere. He's got a good career coming. So I asked Bob if he wanted to be the 3. And he said, well, I've been out on float. Linda really wants me to take a job at headquarters or Quantico. I said, what do you want to do? He said, well, I want to make the family happy. Sir, why don't you talk to Linda? So I said, okay. So I think, I'm a big recruiter. I think I can. So I go see Linda and I say, hey, I want Bob to go on the next float.
Yeah.
And she said, no. I said, what? She said, no, not going to happen. He's not going on the float. End of the discussion. So I said, yes, ma'am. And that was about it. And then Saddam invaded.
Right.
And when Saddam invaded, everything kind of really slowed down. He threw stop loss in.
Yeah.
And I kept pressing for Bob. And then, of all things, the major selection list comes out every year. And young Robert Wagner is deep selected for major. Now,
Very
sports
nice.
fans, there's maybe one person from captain to major, or maybe 2, that ever get deep selected. That means he's selected, but he wasn't in the primary zone of consideration.
Right.
So it's a big compliment to how good he was, but it solved a problem for me. I picked the phone up, called the headquarters monitor and said, Wagner's a major. They said, okay, you can keep him. And so Bob became the 3. He had been an embark clerk in the Blue Diamond in 1970. Sergeant Major Hall, where I started, he had been a PFC in I think the battle was late 67, Da Do, where 2 rifle companies got really tore up. 2 Medal of Honor winners came out of it. Jay Vargas was a company commander, and Captain Jim Livingston was a company commander, and PFC Hall was a rifleman in Livingston's company, got a Purple Heart from that battle and a Bronze Star as a PFC, and did all the things you got to do. Had been a recruiter, had been a drill instructor, and had been on float. One time as a sergeant major, and then when stop loss went in, I was fortunate, very fortunate to keep him. My executive officer was a very senior major that had been working to get to 1-1 and to get on float, and he got on float, I think, halfway through the cruise and joined them coming back to the States under Terry Murray. His name is Mike Einseidler. He ended up retiring as a colonel with an illustrious career. And if there's a 2 yin and yang, it's Einseidler and myself. And I know that I don't like administration. And I'm not good at it. And I'm not saying that Einseidler likes it, but as an enlisted Marine in the Blue Diamond, he went from private to sergeant as a legal clerk. And a trial clerk, which tells you he's got a high GCT or the lawyers wouldn't take him. And then, he'd gone to college and came in, was another Mustanger, became an infantry officer, but because of his experience as a legal clerk, every time he showed up as a junior infantry officer, smart battalion commanders made him the adjutant, made him the S1.
Right.
So he got his time as a rifle company commander, but he spent a lot of time doing. So it was great. I said to Michael, I said, not only does the staff belong to you, with the exception of the 3 and the 4, the 3, the major, and had a fine captain as a 4, all those other officers on the staff, and there are a lot of them, you're gonna write their fitness report, and you run the staff, and I'm gonna sign anything you put in front of me, but I don't want to read it. I want you to take care of it, and I want you to sign as much as you can by direction. And he said, okay. And then, after Saddam invaded and we decided we really wanted to go, it was a blessing to have Mike. And I know he did a great job because nobody ever questioned our admin. I mean, and we're, when you're going to war, you kind of focus on other stuff. So now the troops are coming back from 30 days leave. It's in August. The change of command goes on 12 August. 7th MEB actually arrives in Saudi Arabia on 14 August. So for the first 2 weeks of August, they're flowing and we're watching the news.
Mm-hmm.
And all I'm trying to do is think of how we can get in the game,
Mm-hmm.
along with my fellow battalion commander, Nick Pratt. And so the Marine Corps' position, and it was General Gray's position, 2nd Division and 1st Division, was that we were going to keep the Marine Expeditionary Units composited together as a trained unit. And the two that were trained, they, of course, got to go, and they went and floated in
Mm-hmm.
Desert Shield. But the rest of that training pipeline at that time in August was 3 other battalions on the East Coast and 3 battalions on the West Coast got put in a training holding circle, said,
Right.
keep training, because the Marine Corps wanted to use those after the war was over so we would have a trained forward presence. It made a lot of sense from warfighting. And the example, I went and looked it up on the West Coast, actually in the East Coast, the history proved that logic correct. So after the short war was over,
Mm-hmm.
and the forces, the 500,000 forces that are in Saudi Arabia after the war,
Mm-hmm.
of which ashore 90,000 Marines, and then you must remember that afloat is the 4th MEB,
Mm-hmm.
not MAB, MEB, M-E-B, 4th MEB under Major General Harry Jenkins,
Uh-huh.
and the 5th MEB under Brigadier General Pete Rowe, R-O-W-E,
Mm-hmm.
the 13th MEU, and East Coast brothers, forgive me, but it might have been the 24th MEU, but I'm not sure. Those afloat units didn't work for General Boomer.
Mm-hmm.
Those afloat units work for the Navy Command Central. I had the Stanley Arthur, Admiral Arthur. And
Mm-hmm.
so we have this huge fleet that's been composited
Right.
from all the fleets globally. I mean, we're talking aircraft carriers. We're talking battleships. We got a battleship that was in Vietnam. We got it there.
Nice.
Yeah. On your table of organization in a battalion,
Uh-huh.
you rate 2 naval gunfire officers. One of my naval gunfire officers was a reserve lawyer from Philly that just got told he's filling that billet, had never been in naval gunfire school, didn't know how to do it.
Whoa.
So we said, that's okay. You're going to go in the one shop and help with the admin stuff. We got a Marine staff sergeant they can call naval gunfire. And of course, I know how to call it. So we had a little practice actually in California
Yeah.
at San Clemente Island,
Yeah.
island off of Camp Pendleton, where we practice a little bit of naval gunfire. I digress. So we're back in 7th MEB is flowed in by 14
Mhm.
August. And after the war, everybody's flowing home in March and April. They kept the 13th MEU. They kept them a little longer,
Mm-hmm.
and they stayed in the Persian Gulf. They were supported by 1st Marine Regiment. They were relieved by the 11th MEU in the Persian Gulf,
Mm-hmm.
who was relieved by the 15th MEU
Mm-hmm.
in the Persian Gulf. So the 11th and the 15th were battalions from the 1st Marine Regiment, 1-9 and 2-1. 3-1 was on 13th MEU. Like I said, there are 4 if you're keeping track. So the slippery little snake was 1-1 that got away. 15th was relieved by an East Coast MEU in the Persian Gulf, the 22nd MEU. So Marine Expeditionary Units from April of 91 to January of 92 kept a Marine presence in the Persian Gulf to remind Saddam, who you've got to remember, he's still up in Baghdad.
Yeah.
Right. And so the theory was correct, and those MEUs proved it. Meanwhile, back at Camp Horno, Nick Pratt and I are trying to get out of that theory. We want to go to war.
Right.
So 16 August, the lead detachment for the 1st Division arrives in Saudi Arabia. And on 20 August, General Boomer arrives in Saudi Arabia to Riyadh. And if you recall, he just got the MEF on 8 August. So 12 days later, and you lose a day flying there. So he had 11 days to give instructions to what we'll call the logistics staff at 1st FSSG, General Brabham, but the guy doing the lifting was Colonel Jack Holly, the Black Fox, and he also got out to Jabail and with the slurp and set up on the pier. And Jack lived on that pier from August of 90 till April of 91.
Wow.
As he unloaded the MPFs and then backloaded the MPFs and was charge of the fuel and the tip fed. And the tip fed is the, ladies, it's an acronym, time, phased, force, deployment, data. It's a computer data sheet, and it's also how we deploy or redeploy home with our relationship with the Transportation Command, which is a 4-star command in the Midwest that's in charge of all the strategic aircraft, but also strategic lift and the reserve fleet and hiring logistics lift both in the air and the ground. And so every unit has a Victor code. The 1st Battalion, 1st Marines were Victor 11, 1/1. And in the tip fid, you can enter a bunch of data that becomes dashes and dots that represents your unit.
And that's where, correct me if I'm wrong, but the MAGTF planners, that MOS, that's where that whole thing came from. That's what they do.
Yes.
Did they have MAGTF planners then, or was it as an MOS? They did? Okay.
But it wasn't as sophisticated as today. Today they learned the computer side of it.
Right.
So while we're there, I'll just go ahead and go on. The tip fid was the plan, the time, phase, force, deployment plan.
Right.
The tip fid with a D was the data in the plan. And the plan tells you how you're going to flow people and cargo and equipment, heavy equipment, and everything's represented in the computer. And that was on a computer called WMIX. WMIX. Hey, ladies, Worldwide Military Command Control System. And the WMIX, Worldwide Military Command Control System, had a WMIX terminal, one terminal each major subordinate command. We call them MSCs in the Marine Corps.
Right.
Basically, every 2-star command, you get one WMIX terminal. Usually got a MAGTF planner. Those days, an LDO, captain or major, a warrant officer, and a master sergeant and a gunnery sergeant that could fat finger data into the WMIX terminal. When you plugged all the WMIX terminals together, you had the WIN, W-I-N, which was the worldwide interconnected network for WMIX that ran the tip fid. Today, we still have the tip fid. It's a lot. The app, they wrote a new app, and we've got new computers. And of course, since we got new computers, and we have a new planning system. We had to go from that. We had to have a joint planning system. So if the joint planning system is called JOPES, like you're running jumping rope, JOPES, Joint Operational Planning Execution System, Joint Operation Planning and Execution System. And that lives and rides in a computer system called GCCS. And people don't say the acronym, they just say GCCS. That's how you say it. Global Command and Control System. And that's now the JOPES terminals with the tip fed data plugged into the Global Command and Control System. And its big hub there is a Transportation Command. Usually it goes between an admiral and a general, usually Air Force guy in Omaha, and they look at things like capacity of APODs and entry ports and airfields. So an APOD is your air point of departure. And for the Blue Diamond and 1 MEF, it's up in Riverside at an Air Force base. So the Marines at 29 Palms took buses and trucks up to Riverside to get on the planes. The Blue Diamond went there too. But you don't go to Travis because that's where the Army's going.
Right.
And on the East Coast, you don't go to Pope Air Force Base because that's where the Army's going. The 2 MEF and 2nd Division's APOD is Cherry Point. Because the airfield's big enough and long enough. That's some pretty boring stuff. Now, do you want to talk about it? Do you want to add some more there, AJ?
Well, I do know that you were talking about JOPES and then the Marine Corps side. Oh man, I can't remember. What did you call it? Yeah. Anyway, those two systems, they don't talk to one another. So you can enter in all the data into the Marine Corps system, and then you have to re-enter into the JOPE system, which is one of the things they're trying to fix now, is that system being able to communicate back and forth. So that's one of the things they're working on.
Yeah, you're right. There's 2 systems that begin with a G, GCCS and GSS something. And the GSS one is the logistics one. And the GCCS is the deployment one. And the plan is JOPES up above it. And we're trying to make a joint system. You know, when you make a joint system, I don't know if we want to go into this rabbit hole. Let's say make it real fast. They for 30 years, the way they decided to do it was they decided to federate it. And so when you do a federation, that means I come with my system
Mm-hmm.
and I join AJ with your system,
Right.
and we build a bridge across
Mm-hmm.
between the two systems, and we're federated. And in the bridge, if it's a computer bridge, we have to build translators and software
Right.
to read each other's headers.
Mm-hmm.
And what that does, it slows everything down. And then if you keep federating, when
Just
you
get
bring
slower
in
and slower.
you get the 14th or 15th colony federated in, what happens is it starts to stall like an engine stalling with not enough air to get
Right.
to the carburetor or something. So the real joint system has to be built from the ground up where the center starts joint. So we federated for 30 years and found out it worked good for each of the services. Navy system worked for the Navy, great.
Yeah.
Marines for the Marines, Air Force, blah, blah, blah. When it went joint, it stopped. So then they said, we'll have a joint system
Mm-hmm.
and we'll have a joint core in the center and we'll write standards, software standards and hardware standards,
Mm-hmm.
each of the services for their next generation system. Everybody went like, boom. And so they funded it that way. So then what happened is all the service systems worked great.
Mm-hmm.
And they're known in the business as stovepipes of excellence.
Yeah.
And the joint center system worked great for just the joint stuff.
Right.
But then when you plugged in everybody, me, Marine Corps, I funded last the interface to joint because
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't that interested. All 5 services funded that last, which meant it was behind in the schedule.
Mm-hmm.
And the joint people funded the core first and the interfaces last. And then they discovered the interfaces didn't work. We're still goat roping
That is true.
with federated and semi-federated. There are now some classified
Mm-hmm.
systems that are pretty fast and efficient, but they started with a computer language and some standards and said we're going to grow from here and
Mm-hmm.
grow out. Now the big debate, and we got to stop this, is on searchability, and how your system was designed for searching is
Mm-hmm.
different than mine
Right.
because it's all up. Big data is about searching databases, and every database was written to a different standard and a
Mm-hmm.
different code. So then we come back to drawbridges, which means time
Mm-hmm.
and stoplights and things that slow down. Okay, we're supposed to be talking about warfighting the Marine Corps. If
Well, you
if
got to
H-
have that. You got to have that for war fighting. So it's part of it. It's part of it.
if you want to have a software hardware session with some of your other boys, we can do that. We can hurt all our heads. Okay, we got General Boomer arriving in Riyadh on 20 August. General Myatt's down in Al Jabail,
Mm-hmm.
standing up his division forward on 20 August. The tip bid's flowing. I'm now at 1-1, running at noon with Nick Pratt, who's at 1-9, trying to figure out how to get in the game.
Right.
3-1 is on the way. They've already chopped to their Mew.
Mm-hmm.
They're gone back, and 2-1 is in training. And it goes along that way. And we're can't figure out how we can get in. We're watching the buildup,
Mm-hmm.
and that goes for September and October. And they get in about, Schwarzkopf gets it in about 250,000.
Mm-hmm.
Solars, sailors, airmen, Marines. The big decision, we talked about it last session. I looked up the date now. Everybody quotes it as being in November, early November.
Mm-hmm.
And this shows you how war is only an extension of politics.
Mm-hmm.
The decision meeting in the White House was on 31 October. And that's when Bush hit the desk and said, we will double the size, which is what Schwarzkopf and Powell had recommended,
Right.
to take it from a 72% assurance of victory to a 98%.
Mm-hmm.
The president's question was, what'll give me 100%? The two generals said, we'll get you to 98% if we can double everything.
Mm-hmm.
He said, okay. Then he told Cheney and Secretary of Defense and those two guys,
Mm-hmm.
you guys can plan on it, but it's our secret. The midterm elections, midterms are the elections for Congress, were 4 days away. And so make the announcement public was on 6 November. So that's when everybody heard about it. And the president held a press conference, and
Right.
they're still building a coalition. They're still working through the United Nations.
Mm-hmm.
They're still hoping to negotiate a peace with a Saddam withdrawal.
Mm-hmm.
They used all the tricks. They put the economic sanctions on him. The intel community is still trying to track down the WMDs. So we're watching all this. And in 1-1, we're in a training mode, and we're down at the squad platoon training, starting at the beginning again. When I took command, I had a lot of years to think about it. And I told the Marines on day one, we're going to do 3 things good in 1-1. We're going to shoot, we're going to swim, and we're going to scout. And you're going to learn how to be scout and patrol.
Mm-hmm.
1-1, we're a Marine Expeditionary Unit. We're expected to be at sea. Everybody's going to swim. And if you're a 3rd class, I expect you to become a 2nd class. You're a 2nd class, I want you to get to 1st class.
Mm-hmm.
Swim training saves lives in the Marine Corps, because the fact of the matter is we have mechanical failures and things that swim in the water and fly over the water,
Mm-hmm.
and we lose more Marines in the water than we do to almost anything else except highway accidents. And I haven't compared the two statistics, but I couldn't control highway accidents. I could control the swim tank. And so there's a swimming pool there at Horno.
Yeah.
Guess what? 1-1's in the water every day. And we got people going to the beach every day.
Nice.
Make it fun, guys. Go to the beach for the day. Take your platoon to the beach.
Hey, go on. Sorry.
Make the gunny. That's all right. The cat's probably getting ready to go to the beach, getting excited. Have hamburgers and hot dogs.
Very nice. Yeah.
They get back in the water. And presidential decisions on 31 October, the announcement 6 November, and now the 2nd Division's going.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm sitting on the picnic table next to the pull-up bar there in Camp Horno, and I'm going, man, we got to get in the game. Now
Yeah.
the second division's going, and there are 24 infantry battalions in the Marine Corps. So I started counting battalions, where they were, you know. And, 7th MEB went, and they took 3. 1st MEB went, and they took 3.
Yeah.
4th MEB went, they took 3. 5th MEB went, they took 3. 3 times 4, that's 12. There's 12 left. Okinawa's got battalions, UDP. 2 of those went to Saudi.
Right.
That's 2. Camp Lejeune's got the 8th Marines that are getting ready for the Med.
Right.
That's 4 battalions. One of them's on the MEU. The West Coast has got 4 battalions sucked up, 8, 9, 10. So I'm thinking 2nd Marine Division, they might only have 4 infantry battalions.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got my yellow sheet of paper out, and I drew Okinawa, I drew Saudi Arabia, and by name, because we mix up the battalions.
Right.
We talked about 1st Battalion, 6th Marines starting in 2nd Division. 1-6. Tom Jones goes to Oki as a UDP battalion with 3rd Division. He's UDP Air Alert. Now he flies into Al Jabail, and he chops to the 1st Division. And he actually ended up chopping to 7th MEB, and then he ended up in 7th Marine Regiment. So we have 1-6 in 7th Marines sitting up on a speed bump. And
yeah.
you can do that with all the battalions because, in theory, they're interchangeable.
Right.
So when I figured out that there's probably only 4, I'm saying, well, they can't be happy with that. And I'm sitting here, and we're fully trained, fully certified.
Right.
I mean, to get 7th and 1st MEB up, they had to transfer people from other units into them to fill them up to wartime strength. They're now calling up the reserve regiment with this 2nd November decision by the president. So,
right.
The 25th Marines are going to come, and I think they called another regiment for the East Coast guys, the infantry regiment for the 2nd Division. And so I'm thinking back, who do I know in the 2nd Division? I'm thinking, I go, man, Rocket Ron Richard, good Louisiana boy.
Okay.
Rocket Ron Richard is a professional artillery guy.
Yeah.
And he was in my AWS class.
Okay.
Final exercise. And we lived in Thomason Park. So when you come in the front gate, the old front gate at Quantico,
right,
past the Iwo Jima, the little Quantico Iwo Jima statue, after you get through the gate, the first hardball to the right is a set of brick apartment buildings called Thomason Park.
Okay.
And when I was in amphibious warfare school as captain, that was captain's quarters.
Oh, okay.
Little townhouse, 2-bedroom, upstairs, downstairs. And in our cul-de-sac, Ron Richard lived in our cul-de-sac. And we used to do our homework together on the front porch. That's get your notebook, I get my notebook, and I'll give you all the infantry answers, and you give me all the artillery answers. And a six-pack of beer later, we get called to dinner, right?
Yeah.
And that was good. So Ron's the colonel now, and he is the G3 of the 2nd Division. The G3. And so I go, man, I got to call him. So I go up to my office, close the door, look up the number for 2nd Division, call the 3 shop, Gunny answers. Hey, Gunny, I said, this is Lieutenant Colonel Fallon. I'm calling from the West Coast. It's rather important. And I have to talk to Colonel Richard, nobody else. And the Gunny says, the Colonel's really, really busy. I said, Gunny, we're all going to war. Everybody's busy. Interrupt the meeting and tell him it's Fallon. Unless he's talking to the general.
Right.
No, he's just in there with a 3 shop. Gunny goes in there. Richard picks it up. It says, Fallon, what do you got? I don't have any time. I said, could you? And he didn't know where I was.
Yeah.
I mean, it had been what? We were captains. He's now a colonel.
Yeah.
I said, I think you got 4 infantry battalions for your division and you're trying to go to war. How would you like another fully trained, fully deployable, MUSOC certified infantry battalion that can leave in 24 hours? He said, what are you talking about? Say that all again. I said, Ron, the Marine Corps is in stop loss. Everybody stopped where they were. Yeah, I know. 1st Battalion, 1st Marines just got off the boat after 2 years of MUSOC training.
Yeah.
We're fully trained and we're a full up round and we're TO personnel. We are ready to go. I said, and we don't have a job. We're in 1st Marines. 5th Marines is in 5th MEB. 7th Marines is over there. I'm sitting at Camp Pendleton doing nothing. Ron, I'm doing nothing. I want to go. He goes, well, I got to think about it. I said, don't think about it. Go talk to the general. I said, okay, I'll call you back. I hang up. So I said, okay, I made my best pitch. So between the XO and the CO is the head.
Yeah.
There's a 1 sink, 1 John, 1 shower. And I went in there and I'm doing my business and the XO says, what are you doing? Who are you just talking to? I said, I called Ron Richard and I made the pitch for us to go to war with the 2nd Division. He said, you did what? He came in, I explained it to him. He said, yeah, that one ain't going to fly. So he goes back to work. I get in the shower.
Uh-huh.
And my phone starts ringing. So he does what he knows. He goes through the head and gets it like on the 5th ring.
Uh-huh.
This is like 25 minutes later.
Right.
And he says, he answered the phone, CO's office, 1st Battalion, 1st Marines. And he gets interrupted. This is Colonel Richard. Give me Fallon. He hands it to me. The CG of the 2nd Division, General Bill Keyes, said yes. And so
Nice.
Richard says yes. Then he says to me, what do we have to do? And I said, hey, Rocket, you got a warrant officer down there that runs your WMX that does your tip fed. He said, what? I said, you got a warrant officer in your shop that runs the WMX machine and does your tip fed. Okay, if you tell me I got it, some guy like that, okay. He goes, yeah, okay, I got that. Yeah, I said, hang up, go get him, have him call me, and I will give him all of our data to put us in the computer for us to fly. And I had looked up our APOD at Riverside. Okay, we're good to go, man. 15 minutes later, the phone rings. It's the warrant officer. Okay, sir. So I said, Victor 1-1. Got 1,538 Marines because we were reinforced, BLT, right?
Yeah.
And still had 4 rifle companies.
Mm-hmm.
and a weapons company, and an H&S company, and a reconnaissance platoon, and an engineer platoon. You know, I mean, we're rocking and rolling. I don't know if that's the right number, but it was a big number.
Yeah.
Might have been 14 something. And where all our equipment is, give them all that stuff, hang up, and Einsider comes in and says, well, what do you want me to do? And I said, well, one, you don't tell anybody about this. Two, exercising your authority as the executive officer. So I told him, I said, we're going to the 2nd Division.
Yeah.
But you cannot tell anybody. Especially don't tell 1-9, 2-1, or the regiment. Because they all want to go.
Yeah.
Right. So but you call the 4 in, and I want a full up embarkation drill where all the embarkation boxes, that we still were in the days of wooden embark boxes,
Right.
get put on a parade deck with new paint, new tar, because when you go afloat, you tar all the wooden cracks, new lining, because we just got off afloat. He goes, they're in good shape, sir. We just got off float. I said, you haven't looked at those boxes in 2 years, and you weren't the XO 2 years ago. And I got a lot of pent-up energy. I got to look at something. So we're going to look at boxes, and we're going to look at rifles. And so we're not going. We were supposed to go to the field the next week.
Right.
Cancel going to the field. Well, as soon as we canceled going to the field, all the officers knew something was up, because you know, I've been preaching the field since 12 August. You know,
Right.
So August, September, October, 3 months. Get your ass in the field. The only place you can be if you're not in the field is swimming in the ocean or the swim tank.
Yeah.
Can't be anywhere else. And so it's going to be a full week of embarkation boxes and rifle inspections.
Right.
And the purpose is to find out what we don't have. And so we do all that stuff. And what we found out was the rifles were really good, but all the crew-served weapons were missing SL3 parts. So SL3 parts, ladies, is a bag of parts for repair and maintaining of crew-served weapons, and SL3 is the inventory, and the Armory orders them, pays for them in the Armory's budget, and then if you break a sear, SERE, on a rifle, you can go get a new sear and replace it.
Right.
Well, we were out of parts. When you order things in the Marine Corps supply system, you're given a code. Your unit is. And if you are the closest to embarkation, like you're a MUSOC unit that's gone through certification, and you get on the ship next week, your code is an X. If you're an air alert battalion and you got to fly 6 hours, 24 hours, your code is X. But if you just got off the ship for 2 years of having a priority, you're now last in the parts line.
Oh no.
So we got a problem. So 2 days later, I'm on my run with Pratt, and he says, why are you doing embarkation inspections and weapons inspections, and why didn't you go to the field last week? And we're running out. And I said, I'm not going to tell you why. I should have lied about it. I should have said, you know, we got a division inspection coming. Should have made up something.
Yeah.
But because I said I'm not going to tell you, he immediately knew we were going.
Yeah.
And so we make our turn. There's a picnic area 1.5 miles towards Main side out of Camp Horno.
Yeah.
standard flat PFT route. We make our turn, and he just takes off.
Oh
And,
no.
and I'm not going to take off. So I went to my fastest gear, and he's pulling away. I said, "Okay, asshole, if you slow down, I catch my breath, I'll tell you." He slows down, and I said, "We're going," and I said, "Because we're last, we just got home. They figure that the 3 battalions in the pipeline, which I was last. Now he's last.
Right.
Out of 3, I was 4 out of 1's gone. So I said, I'm going to 2nd Division. He goes, what? He said, how'd you do that? I said, I ain't telling you that one. You can run as fast as you want. But they figure they only need 3 battalions to cover the MUSOC commitment. And since we're at full strength and we're ready to go, we're going, and we're going soon.
Yeah.
So I'm getting ready. And so he didn't say anything. The next day on our run, we're running out, and he's quiet, and I'm quiet. And he says, congratulations. And I said, Nick, thank you very much. We make the turn. And then he goes, I know you're pretty full up, but do you need anything? I says, what do you mean? I said, well, are you short any MOSs? Are you short any equipment?
Right.
And boy, then the light bulb went off in the back of my head, and I said, no, we're good on people, man. I appreciate it. And, we're good on vehicles, but because we don't have a rating in the supply system, all our SL3 for everything, we don't have it. If we have an empty bag, and we don't have any parts for any of our vehicles. He goes, no problem. He says, I've been getting ready for 6 months. He says, we got all that stuff. He said, tell your 4 to come over, and I'll give you everything out of my armory, every part.
Oh, wow.
Well, he paid for them, 1, at his budget.
Right.
1, he didn't have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
2, he paid for them out of his budget. 3, it's the best thing you can do when your brother's going to war to help him get healthy if you're not going.
Yeah.
And it takes a super big heart, super big mind, but that's the kind of officer Nick Pratt was. He didn't look on his woes. He said, how can I help you succeed? And basically, he cleaned out his parts budget for weapons and gave us all his parts.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was great. It was great. Rest in peace. I think I told you before, my brother Nick's gone. Gonna get some caffeinated coffee here.
Yeah, no problem. And you're right. Like it takes a special person to be able to set aside that the jealousy that might come in and say, you know what, I'm gonna help you. I got to do what I got to do. So it takes a big person to do that.
So next thing that comes in on the WMIX that's up at the Blue Diamond headquarters is we get our date. We get, you got to be at the airhead. Well, now there's got to be some coordination because the 2nd Division can't get trucks and buses from Camp Pendleton up there. I gotta go clean. So I tell my 4 to go to the Regimental 4 and go to the G4 at base and say, we need lift to get March Air Force Base in Riverside
Mm-hmm.
on this day in December. And we're about 30 days out. We're in November, so we're at the end of November. And that kind of popped the bubble on the West Coast that 1-1 was going.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at it and I said, I called in the Brain Trust,
Mm-hmm.
the 6 Vietnam vets, Sergeant Major, the XO3, myself, and 2 gunnery sergeants.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just the start of the new bursting bomb, one of General Al Gray's initiatives again to bring back the Marine gunner community,
Right.
where each battalion rated a Marine gunner. And the first infantry battalions to get them, the new gunners fully been through screening, been to gunner school. We're the MUSOC battalion, so we had a gunner,
Mm-hmm.
Williamson, Warrant Officer 2, Williamson. So shows you how junior the program was.
Right.
Before he became a gunner, he was a gunnery sergeant. So I said, okay, we're going in 30 days. What can we do training-wise to prepare? And the gunner said, right out of boom, live fire. And then his sergeant major's going like this, live fire. I said, I thought you guys all did live fire to be getting MUSOC certified. Nell said, yeah, but that was over 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Then we've been on ship, and we got 150 new prives and PFCs from SOI.
Infantry. Yeah.
And that means everybody's got a new job. So then Daddy Wags, he raises his hand. I said, okay, Wags, what do you got? He said, if we could go down to 29 Palms and shoot range 400, that'd be beautiful. Now, all infantry Marines know what range 400 is. It's a small unit, live fire maneuver range where you maneuver a small unit like a squad and you shoot live fire, and the squad leader controls the squad shooting a live fire.
Right.
And then after 3 infantry squads each shoot live fire, you can run a platoon with the lieutenant running 2 up, 1 back.
Yeah.
Put a base of fire left, 2 envelop, live fire. That's all done at range 400. Probably the hardest range to get in infantry training in the Marine Corps, because everybody wants to use it.
Right.
Except everybody on the West Coast has already gone to Saudi Arabia.
Mm-hmm.
29 Palms is empty. Everybody on the East Coast, almost to a man, doesn't have enough time.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, Wags, call the 3 shop at 29 Palms. So it's Marine Corps base 29 Palms
Mm-hmm.
has a 3 shop that controls the ranges.
Mm-hmm.
And they got a tower for range safety, and they control all the training areas. And ask them, is range 400 open? Is Camp Wilson open? So Camp Wilson is an expeditionary airfield with a MU-sized tent camp next to it, named for General Wilson, former commandant. But it's an expeditionary airfield outside Mainside.
Yeah.
So you can go to 29 Palms and pretend like you're deployed, and then you can go live fire everything in the infantry arsenal.
Right.
Wagner comes back and says, there's nobody at range 400. There's nobody at Camp Wilson. There's nobody at 29 Palms. I mean, there's a civilian working G3, retired Marine Master Sergeant, there's a civilian, retired Marine Master Gunnery Sergeant, running range control, and they both trying to volunteer to come with 1-1. I said, well, if we could do that, maybe we try to do that. So we go to the force shop and we say, we're going to treat this like a rehearsal, like a deployment. We're going to deploy by combat formation, take the battalion to Camp Wilson, and everybody's going to fire their table of equipment weapon.
Right.
So it takes a week to plan. And it takes about 2 or 3 days to move down there. And day before we're moving, I'm going to go down the next day. And I think I'm going down with the main body. And the 3 was down there with the advanced party. And the 4 and the XO were coming with the rear element. And the 4 comes in with the supply officer and the XO. And they said, we got a problem. And I looked at the XO and I said, you're supposed to take care of problems on the staff side. Why is this now my problem? And they said, we don't have very much ammo. I said, what do you mean? They said, well, sir, here's how it works. You get an ammo allocation per Marine per year for training by the unit. And since we were deployed, we got a different allocation, and we have shot just about all of our ammo.
Wow.
And you get your new allocation on the first of the year, first of the FY, which was 1 October. So I said, oh. They said, but we didn't have an X rating anymore. We're last in the pipeline.
Right.
So we got some infantry ammo, but we don't do crew served weapons until the second year. We don't have very much ammo. So I said, we're still going to 29 pounds. Go figure it out. And so they all go and they all come back, and we get down there, and I said, go to the ammo dump and try to draw ammo. What do you mean? I said, you fill out a requisition and you go and you try to draw ammo. The guy takes your requisition and he fills it. He's supposed to check it against your allocation. But if the computer's down or the computer's in a different building, so we don't know their system, go try to draw ammo. And you draw ammo by DODIX. Ladies, that's an acronym. Department of Defense, Infantry Ammo something. Anyway, DODIX. It's the type of ammo for each weapon. So they said, hey, pretty good. We got M16 ammo, but we didn't get much else. I said, well, try tomorrow. We're at Camp Wilson now. We got a whole battalion there.
Yeah.
We got range 400. Set up some live fire team exercises, 4 men in a fire team, squad stuff. You have range safety officers. Start running every squad. And then I said, everybody that's not in the rifle squads, in a rifle company, you got to make up a provisional squad. So if you're an H&S company and you work in supply, 13 supply dudes, 1 of you is the squad leader, 3 of you are fire team leaders. You're the first supply squad.
Right.
And you guys are going to shoot too. And so like in the third day, sir, we just don't have the ammo. Okay. And I'm thinking, and the adjutant had come in the second day I'm there and said that I had to pay an office call on the commanding general of the base, and that the commanding general of the base knew that there was an infantry battalion on the base And he had sent his adjutant to my adjutant to remind my adjutant that it was Marine Corps courtesy to pay an office call when you came to a new base.
Right.
And I'm going, really? I'm trying to go to war. I said, man, really? He said, this adjutant was fired up. And my adjutant was a LDO. And so I said, okay. Who is it? Who am I going to see? I said, I thought General Hopkins was in Saudi Arabia. So the head of 29 Palms, 2-star general,
Yeah.
wore like 3 hats, right? He was
Uh-huh.
the base commander. He was in charge of training for the commandant,
Right.
and he was the commander of 7th MEB with an E, MEB.
Uh-huh.
He's gone. No, it's Major General Jim Livingston, Medal of Honor winner. I go, really? Okay. And so I said, lean out of my tent, yell for the Sergeant Major. Sergeant Major.
Excuse me.
What, Captain Livingston, your boss? Yes, sir. I said, well, we got to go visit him. Well, what's this we stuff? They said, well, and I actually had served with him under his command, actually, when I was a captain. So now I knew what I was going into. General Livingston is a warrior, and he's a very hard man. And he believes that if he's hard on you, he's preparing you for war.
Right.
And that's his philosophy. And I had served as a captain when he was a major in an OCS company that he ran. And he ran it as a hard man. So I said, we're going to get our Humvee and we're going to drive to Mainside. And I'm really thinking I'm going to use the Sergeant Major as my block. He's going to block. He's going to block for me.
Yeah.
And, I'm going to say, I'm sorry. I didn't realize there was a general officer here. I thought General Hopkins is gone, blah, blah. I'm trying to think. So we go in there, and he is nicer than we report in, both of us.
Yeah.
Slam on it, 3 pounds on the door. I file in, Sergeant Major files in. We center up. Lieutenant Colonel Fallon reporting. Sergeant Major Hall reporting. And he can't believe he knows both of us. He didn't know. He had no idea. Hey, stand at ease. Just great to see you guys. Hey, come over here. He gets out behind his desk and sit down. Go sit in the couch, right?
Yeah.
You know you made it when you get told to sit down, right?
Yeah.
So he yells out there for his aide. I've got real warriors here. Get coffee. Coffee for everybody. It doesn't matter that it's afternoon and you don't want any. You're going to drink coffee.
Yeah.
So we go through all the where you been, how you doing, and then he complains. Well, you're lucky you're going, and he didn't know I was going to the 2nd Division. He just knew where we were going.
Yeah.
And he's complaining. He had been I forget what his title was. He was a commanding general of the reserves in New Orleans. And I think at that time it was a 2-star billet. He charged all the reserves. And he had petitioned the commandant when the war started that since he was a warrior, he should go to war. And General Gray knew all the Marine officers. In his time, there were about 72 Marine officers. I could be wrong. There were general officers, maybe 80. He personally knows every one of them, so he knows which ones he wants going to war, right? I mean, we just went through that with General Myatt getting the 1st Division and General Boomer getting 1 MEF. That's because General Gray had faith in their ability at their rank to do superior jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And so to my words and my assumption, not
Mhm.
General Gray to me, to appease General Livingston that he was doing something, not just sitting in New Orleans. General Gray said, you go to 29 Palms and set up some courses, and we're going to run people through them
Mm-hmm.
before they go to Saudi Arabia. And in fact, that happened after we left. All the reserve units
Mm-hmm.
that was in charge of also,
Right.
but now he's living at 29. He's now in charge of training, where they get to go through a 2-week training before they get in a plane and fly to Saudi.
Nice. Okay.
So it's a pretty good deal. So we're winding up, and I'm saying, hey, sir, I've got to get back to my unit. He goes, if he calls you combat, that's a compliment. And lots of Marine officers and senior Marine enlisted call Marines Marine when they can't remember the guy's name. Hey,
Mhm.
Marine, come on over here. Livingston calls the guy combat if they've been in combat, but he can't remember their name. So he goes, hey, combat. I'm going, and Sergeant Major's hit me. It's okay. Is there anything at all, anything I can do to help you because you're going to war? Light bulb goes off. Yes, sir. You can do one thing. Anything. I need a few rounds of ammunition. What do you mean? I said, well, in peacetime, you have this allocation, and we were MUSOC. The allocation got shot. I'm here trying to do range 400. Ammo dump's got plenty of ammo,
Mm-hmm.
but they won't give it out. Starting tomorrow morning, they'll give it out. Thank you, sir. So, he called in the base G4, who really wasn't in the ammo chain.
Yeah.
The ammo chain was I think the MEF chain on who controlled ammo, MEF ammo officer. But he wrote a note or a letter. I don't know what he did. But when I went back to my 4, all Dodix, all weapons, all of it tomorrow. This is a one-time shot. I don't know when Walmart's going to open up again. But every toe shooter is going to shoot a toe. Every dragon gunner is going to shoot a dragon. Every 81's guy is going to not the guy that carries the base plate. If he's a private, he's still going to get to drop one round.
Nice.
So we got a bunch of ammo, and for 2 weeks, everybody shot every weapon. And then we went back to Camp Pendleton and Camp Horno.
Mm-hmm.
We gave the Marines 1 week's leave, and if they were leaving California, it was okay. We had to have a plan. The platoon commanders had to have the guy who was going to Chicago. We said he had to pitch his plan to the platoon commander.
Right.
I didn't want guys driving to Boston and turning around and driving their banger back in a week.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So they all had money. They'd been on deployment for 2 years, except for the 150.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody takes 7 days vacation. Everybody. And, we're going to lock everything up. We'll get 1-9 to cover a security watch for the armory
Mm-hmm.
and our buildings, and everybody.
Right.
And so we did. Before we did that, I got everybody together in the theater, and it was all hands on deck, nobody can miss. And it was, I got up and I just said, look, we're going to war, and it's going to be hard. It's going to be stressful. But the sergeant major and I have both been to war, and we're going to do the best we can to train you the best we can and to bring you back. But if there's anybody here that does not want to go, I won't take you. I won't make you go. And if you don't want to go, it's not going to be any stain on you. You just let your chain of command know, work it up the enlisted chain of command of the sergeant major, and we'll either transfer you somewhere here on base, or we'll get you FAP'd. We'll get you to do something.
Yeah.
Now go home, and you can tell your family you're going to war. Make sure you do your will, your power of attorney, all the stuff you're supposed to have already got done. You kiss mama goodbye, kiss your mother goodbye. We're going to Saudi Arabia. That's all I know. And that's, so you just tell them that's all you know, that you're going to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
And the colonel thinks we're going to war. So I go back to the office a couple hours later. We're getting ready to close up for 7 days, and Sergeant Major comes in and said we had 2 people. I thought we'd have a dozen. So okay, who are they? And they were both corporals, and they were both crying. They both had made floats. They had both had families.
Yeah.
And one really didn't want to go, and wife was pregnant. The other one had a bad knee and wanted to get the surgery on the knee and then go. So I said to that one, I said, so your problem isn't you don't want to go. Your problem is you want knee surgery. He goes, yeah. So I said, you can leave. You go see the executive officer who already knew that I wanted him to call the hospital and make it happen. I told him, I said, we'll take you on light duty. We'll take you on the plane in light duty. You can go on crutches. You want to go. Yeah, everybody said he's a good guy. The guy, his wife was pregnant. We said, okay. We decided to leave one Marine behind to be in charge of our rear. And the Marine Corps had just started up something called Key Wives. And Key Wives was an organization that was badly needed, that had no structure, that you could call a key wife if there was something wrong in the unit, especially if the unit was deployed.
Right.
Well, we said you're going to be the Marine that the Key Wives group calls first to try to solve a problem for a married Marine family. He said, well, what do you mean? I said, okay, you live here and you're married. If Corporal Hernandez's wife calls the Key Wives group because she can't afford a plumber and her toilet stopped up, I expect you to get in your Ranger pickup truck, go over there with your roto-rooter and roto-rooter the drain for her and fix it. Because if the battalion was here, one of his buddies would come over and do it for him.
Yeah.
They say, you work for the Key Wives. And the head Key Wife for 1-1 was my wife. And she's a smart woman and did an unbelievable, remarkable job. We lived in town out in Oceanside, we added a second phone line that was the Key Wives phone line
Mm-hmm.
that was different than our home phone, and put a tape recorder on it in case it rang and you couldn't pick it up.
Right.
Every day, or put it on silent at night, whatever time she put it on silent when the baby's going down, 8 o'clock, 12 to 15 messages every morning,
Wow.
every day, the entire deployment.
No
And,
kidding.
you know, I'd say half of it's passing a word
Mm-hmm.
or putting down rumors from bad word.
Mm-hmm.
Half of it is listening, somebody that can cry in their shoulder.
Right.
Half of it's a real world problem that you got to hook them up with a real world agency.
Mm-hmm.
And this is before there was SOPs and all the nonprofit agencies that take care of deployed families now. Now there's an
Right.
integrated system. And it was a shock for the Marine Corps family system
Mm-hmm.
because by December, there's 90,000 Marines gone,
Yeah.
and there was no safety social network
Mm-hmm.
like there is today. So to all the Key Wives from Desert Shield, Desert Storm, their job was harder than the Marines that deployed by far
Yeah.
because they dealt with emotional issues
Mm-hmm.
and real world physical problems. My commode is stuck up,
Mm-hmm.
and real world health, welfare, and finance problems.
Right.
So we left one corporal. He's to be the man in charge. He did a great job. And we come back from a week. I think we had a 3 or 4 day buffer. Did rifle inspections again. Rolled everybody up to Riverside. We were flying chartered commercial air. And the deal was we got to take our individual weapons on the airplane.
Mm-hmm.
The deal we cut was not 1-1, that the Marine Corps Transportation Command
Yeah.
cut with the airlines. Take the firing pin out and put the firing pin in a box. And then the wooden box was controlled by one of the flight crew, not one of the military people.
Okay.
So then when you landed, you got your little wooden box back, with 500 M16 firing pins in them.
Right.
But the Marine still had his weapon. So he was going in country with his rifle in his seat.
Wow.
At least that's the way we went. I'm sure other units went other ways. Okay. So we arrive, right? And it's hot, and it's nighttime, and it's dark. And we're, except for the reserve infantry battalions,
Mm-hmm.
we're the last regular infantry battalion to get there.
Right.
All the others have been training. And we had flowed on the 2nd Division's Stipfed, landed in El Jebel, went to they had barracks that were like single level buildings set up
Mm-hmm.
and tents set up that were just garrison style.
Mm-hmm.
And I got in my Humvee and went and found there was plenty of checkpoints and road guards out. 1st Division had pushed way up towards the border.
Mm-hmm.
2nd Division was still back around the port. The air wing was at there. I think they ended up at 4 different air stations, helos, fixed wing bubbas. They were all over. The MEF had a main headquarters, and then they had a headquarters up in Riyadh. So I went and found the division main and found the main tent, went in there and
Was that 2nd Division or 1st Division?
2nd Division,
2nd. Okay.
went in there and found the watch officer. I think it was like 4 in the afternoon. And I said, where's everybody? They're in a planning meeting. I told him I was here to see Colonel Richard, and that he said, well, he's in a planning meeting. I just sat down. It broke up. It was a division planning meeting. It was in a big planning tent outside their Combat Operations Center.
Right.
I'm sitting in the 3 section of the Combat Operations Center, folding chair. Richard comes back in, bags under his eyes, looks down at me. I stand up. We shake hands. I said, I'm reporting in. I said, where do you want me to go? What do you want me to do? He said, I don't have a fucking clue. He goes, you know, Mike, the truth is, I hadn't thought very much about you. I said, no, you probably forgot us. He said, no, I didn't forget you. We haven't thought very much about you. You know, it's 1700 now. When did you get here? I said, well, we landed at 2 this afternoon, right? Or last night. I guess it was last night. And he says, go back and get your people bedded down and come back here at noon tomorrow. I go back. The 3 and Einstein and the sergeant major come see me. What are we going to do? Get everybody bedded down? Get all the weapons back? How about dry firing the weapons and zero, not live fire, but zero snap in the weapons, you know, on the ground or something? Just, why are we doing that? They did that 3 weeks ago. Everybody's got their BZ.
Yeah.
I said, because I don't want them sitting in their rack reading fuck books. Give them something to do. Come up with something. Keep them busy. Keep them busy. And so the next day I go back at noon. I go see Colonel Richard, check in. He said, almost. Come back tomorrow at noon and we'll have a definitive answer. I said, well, tell me what's going on. He says, I know you came over here with us, but General Keyes and General Myatt are having dinner tonight. Now, the 2 generals are running their divisions.
Yeah.
They don't do social shit at night, and they're 45 kilometers apart.
Right.
But Keyes, who's an old manpower guy, he's got a little house trailer he's living in right now. He had called Myatt up 2 days when we got there, invited him for dinner. Keyes is a 2-star general, probably with 2 years seniority.
Okay.
Myatt's a 1-star general, probably with 2 years seniority. So Myatt's coming to see Keyes, and I'm not sure if Myatt's frocked yet. At some point there in Desert Shield, they frocked him to 2 stars so he could deal with the Saudis and be equal to 2nd Division, blah, blah, blah. All I know is he's going to dinner. Well, I saw my buddy, Ron Richard's Alpha, Lieutenant Colonel G3 Alpha, Lieutenant Colonel Jan Hewley, H-U-L. Hewley retired as a 3-star.
Yeah.
He was always an up-and-comer, another classmate, right? So you go to school to make friends and to find out who you can trust and who to call, right?
Right.
So I said, Jan, what's going on? And Jan had the general's ear. And he says, well, I think that you're going to be traded tonight. I said, traded? He said, yeah, remember when we were kids, you know, baseball cards? You know, Willie Mays for Mickey Mantle. 2 center fielders.
Yeah.
He said, I'm not a center fielder. He said, yeah, you're a dumb fuck. You're an infantry battalion. He said, the 1st Battalion's 6 Marines is over there right now inside the 7th Marine Regiment.
Yeah.
He says, what battalion, when he was a lieutenant colonel, did Major General Keyes have? Hey, Jan, how the fuck do I know? I don't keep track of what battalion a 2-star general is. Hey, Mike, he had 1-6. Okay. What regiment did General Keyes have when he was a colonel? Well, I give up, Jan. You're going to tell me. Well, Mike, he had 6 Marines.
Yeah.
And now
Makes sense.
the 6 Marines are over here. And General Keyes and Tom Jones was known as a premier training officer.
Uh-huh.
And the 1st Division, since they got there, had been practicing minefield breaching
Mm-hmm.
and practicing different techniques, different task organizations of engineers, infantry covering engineers,
Mm-hmm.
tanks, how to do it. Well, Tom Jones was right in the middle of developing all that because they get to really doing all that. And then as each battalion arrived
Mm-hmm.
in the 1st Division, they all got put through minefield breach training 101 by 1-6 because they were the instructors and the A instructors and all that.
Right.
Well, the 2nd Division had no battalions trained in minefield breaching. The original plan was the 1st Division was going to do this division breach, and the 2nd Division was going to follow behind them and drive through.
Yeah.
Somewhere along the line, the 2nd Division of General Keyes counted the number of vehicles
Mm-hmm.
in the 1st Division, the logistics train, in the sand piles, and in their thing. And 50,000 would not be an exaggeration. And counting all the logistics trail and everything.
Yeah.
They decided that wasn't a smart thing to do. So now 2nd Division wanted to do their own breach. And now 1-6 is over here, the premier breaching battalion.
Yeah.
So Hewley says, they're getting steak dinner tonight, the son of a bitches, and they're drinking wine. I said, how do you know that? He says, who do you think the idiot was that had to go find it? And he was off trading and doing his thing. And so over dinner that night, 1-1 got traded for 1-6.
Got it. It makes sense.
So I get back. So I go back, come back the next day, go see Richard. Richard said, the trade happened. You are officially transferred from 2nd Division to 1st Division, effective at noon today. It was like 5 afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
Go drive 45 kilometers, go check in the 1st Division. By now, they got the word. Roger. Turn around, drive to 1st Division, go in, see the 3 Alphas, a guy named Ray Cole, see the 3, another lieutenant colonel named Jerry Humble. Know both those guys. Hey, welcome back to the 1st Division. Boy, we're glad you're here. The general's going to say hello. Sit here for 5 minutes. General comes out. Hello. Hey, you still got that 4th Rifle Company? Yes, sir. Effective immediately. Detach 1 rifle company and give it to headquarters battalion. 1st Division. Go see Ray Cole. He'll tell you where to take the rest of your unit.
Nice.
So I go see Ray. He said, He takes the map out. He shows me the map. He says, "You're here. You got to talk to Saudi Motors." I said, "What the hell is Saudi Motors?" He says, they are who's going to give you buses and trucks. You go up the coast road, 50 kilometers to the speed bump, and there you do a relief in place to all the defensive. And so there was a defensive line
Right.
that went 90 degrees horizontal, dug into the ground to the speed bump. And you do a relief for the 1st Battalion, 6th Marines, and you tell them to report to 2nd Division.
Mm-hmm.
And they're to get on Saudi Motors buses and leave. So this is a relief in place, not, it's administrative relief in place, but and do it at night.
Yeah.
Get it together. You can't do it tonight. This is going to take Saudi Motors tonight. Do it the next night. Got it. Go back. Orders group. Orders group is when I call for orders and all the staff and company commanders come together. Company commanders and orders all at once. I take the map out and I said, we're going from here, where we are right now, to here. That's called the speed bump. We're going by Saudi Motors. What's that? XO and the 4, you go figure that out. S3, you're coming with me. We're going to do a relief in place, and we're going to take over the defensive positions for the 1st Battalion, 6th Marines. So, Wagner, you and I, we're going to go see 1-6 right now, and the XO and the 4 are going to go find Saudi Motors, and not tonight, but the next night. Everybody understand? Yeah. Got my driver. I got a driver. Got my Humvee. I sit in the front seat. I don't like to sit in the back seat. Wagner, my 3's in the back seat with about 3 radios. Boom, we're up the coast road. Wagner says, how do we know where we're going? I said, I expect there'll be checkpoints, Bob. And if we ever get to a checkpoint without Marines and there's Arabs, we went too far. Whoa, okay. He said, there's only one hardball. We're going to go up and at each checkpoint, we're going to say, it's 50 kilometers. We're going to say, is this a speed bump? And they're going to say yes or no. So we go up, we get there at night, we get to the speed. So look, I said, when we get here, I'm going to go meet the battalion commander alone. His name's Tom Jones. He's a longtime personal good friend of mine. We're in the same den, same 13 guys in the captain's course. I said, Tom's S3 is a guy named Vic the Mouth Riley. And Vic the Mouth was from New Jersey. And Wagner knew him. And Wagner goes, how do you know the Mouth? I said, you don't remember? When I was in 1-6, it was the S3, and you were in 1-6 as a lieutenant. Vic the Mouth was in 1-6 as a second lieutenant. He said, I forgot we're all in 1-6 together. I said, yeah, you and I are in 1-6 together. So you tell him it's a relief in place, and you 2 majors, you've done this in training. Vic, I said, your problem, Bob, is you're going to have more Marines than he has. So you got to put like 1 extra Marine in every defensive position, or 2. Do the math. And Vic needs to set up guides because Saudi Motors, they're going to drop us on this hardball. And the guides got to take them at night to that bunker and put those Marines in that bunker. So I got it, boss. So I go, I get the guide for me. Take me to your battalion commander's bunker. So I go, and Jones is in a bunker by himself, as he should be. And AJ, I gotta tell you, it's hallway wide.
Okay.
sandbags,
Uh-huh.
and there's a regular chair rail made out of 2x4s down to a landing. There's a turn,
Uh-huh.
hallway wide, down to another landing. There's a friggin' door on it. You open a door, there's like a little anteroom with wooden pegs to hang up helmet, flak jacket,
Right.
helmet for a guest, flak jacket. There's a hall. There's 2 steps down. There's a chamber there with a field desk, a picnic table, a kerosene lamp. There's a tarpaulin, which is obviously to a cot behind it to like a little bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
Tom's sitting there in a canvas chair. He's got his feet up on the picnic table.
Mm-hmm.
He's reading a book. It's 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night.
Mm-hmm.
I come down and open the door. I didn't bang on a hatch or anything. Hung all my shit up, and he goes, "Who is it?" I go, "It's Fallon." He said, "Who?" I said, "Fallon." "Well, what the fuck are you doing here?" He said, "Is that any way to greet a friend? You got a glass of water or a canteen? This is the desert." "Mate, hey, mate, I'm not acclimatized." I come down there and he passes me a canteen. He says, "What are you doing here?" I said, "Well, that's nice. How are you doing, Tom?" "Fine." "How's the family?" "Fine." "What are you doing here?" I said, "We're going to do a relief in place. 1st Battalion, 1st Marines is going to take over the speed bump from 1st Battalion, 6th Marines tomorrow night." He says, "Okay." And I brought Wags up. He's over talking to the mouth, and they're going to put together the changeover plan. You and I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
He says, "Okay." I say, "You got anything to eat?" He said, "Well, I got a long rat down here." He gives me a long rat. And I say, "Okay, you got anything better than that?" His wife's name is Nancy. I said, "Nancy send you anything?" He said, "Oh, you're asking for a lot." So he comes over and he gives me popcorn. I said, "That's the stale popcorn you use for packing. Break out the cookies, man. Break out the cookies." So anyway, you put popcorn as when you mail to Marines in U.S. mailing, families, ladies, is a trick. Use popcorn. It can go stale, but Marines can still eat it. And that still serves as insulation. And then the cookies don't get broke. Put the cookies in a Ziploc bag, put them in the middle, popcorn all around it, shoebox, ship it to your Marine. The cookies won't be broke. That's a tip.
It's a good tip. Good tip.
Or a lesson learned.
Yeah.
So we're doing this. I said, he says, "Do you know where I'm going?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "You're going back to the 6th Marine Regiment in the 2nd Division." He goes, "No shit. Really?" I said, "Yeah." He says, "I was kind of hoping to stay here." I said, "Why is that?" He said, "Well, let's not go into negative stuff right now." But I said, "You've already been chopped. The chop went at, the detachment went at noon today."
Yeah.
"Well, how did this happen?" I said, "Well, I came with the 2nd Division, and last night over dinner, Keyes traded you for me." He said, "What?" I told him, "Baseball trade." I says, "Who?" I said, "Tom, who do you think had 1-6?" He said, "I know, Keyes had 1-6. That's why I get all kinds of help. He had 1-6. Everybody and his mother had 1-6. I want to run my battalion." I said, okay. He says, "Even you had 1-6. I said, "Well, you remembered I was acting as a major.
Yeah.
I got to be acting 1-6 for 30 days as a young major. Everybody's brother gets to be in charge of 1-6. Even you, Fallon." So I'll wrap this up. I said, But General Myatt told me to tell you all your attachments that had come from the 1st Marine Division off MPF. So your amphibious tractor company,
Mm-hmm.
that's 55 or 60 double AVs. Your tank company, your engineer platoon, your reconnaissance platoon, they all stay here. He says, no. What do you mean no? I said, you don't get to vote. He says, I'm telling you, you're leaving them right here. And he had them all dug in, right?
Yeah.
Everything was dug in. He said, don't you understand training? We have tractor teams. I said, what's a tractor team? He says, it's a squad of Marines. It's 13 Marines, a machine gun team of 2 Marines. Those 15 Marines with 3 Marines from that tractor, they have trained together for 5 months. We are ready to go. We got hand and arm signals. We got flag signals. I will not let this happen. I train this team. These are my boys.
Yeah.
I said, okay. He said, I'm going to get changed. I said, okay. So he's standing up. He's getting dressed. Puts his blouse on. He's going up the door, grabbing his flak jacket, his helmet, yelling for his driver and his sergeant major. Hey, Tom, can I sleep here tonight? Yeah. So he books it, right?
Uh-huh.
And he goes down to the 1st Division CP, and he goes in there and he sees Ray Cole, the lieutenant colonel, 3 Alpha, and goes, Ray. Ray goes, see the next guy. Jerry, see the next guy. General Myatt goes, hey, Tom, you're the best trainer in the Marine Corps. General Keyes will give you whatever equipment General Keyes thinks is right for you, for your BLT. Right now, you're just a battalion. And you belong to, as of noon today or yesterday, you belong to General Keyes.
Right.
So you can go report to General Keyes. Turns around. He goes, find out where that is. He goes in there and he finds Jan Hewley and goes, Hewley goes, see the next guy. Ron Richard, now we're back to, we'd all been in the same AWS class. Ron goes, see the next guy. Goes up and sees General Keyes. General Keyes says, Tom, we're glad to have you back. We got 1-1 back. It's really great. And Keyes is talking, Tom is talking.
Yeah.
And Tom is from Chicago and talks at like 27,000 words a minute. And so Keyes finally goes, Tom, you're a world-class trainer. Go see Colonel Richard. He'll tell you what attachments you're getting and prepare to give us a class on how to breach a minefield. And please have your battalion over here in the 2nd Marine Division area as soon as you can.
Yeah.
So that's it. We did to this date. Tom lives in Northern Virginia. He when he retired, even before he retired, he bought an old Boy Scout camp and turned it into a camp for disadvantaged children called Outdoor Odyssey. It's outside Johnstown, Pennsylvania. It's one of the best camps in the country, and it thrives on mentorship, one-on-one, 2-on-1 leadership, outdoor challenges, and intellectual challenges. So he's been running Outdoor Odyssey now for probably 35 years.
Wow.
He's moved up to be the chairman of the board, which means he raises money for Outdoor Odyssey. He's got relationships with every school district in Pennsylvania.
Right.
Every town. His grown son and wife and their kids live on the camp, and his grown son's the CEO,
Oh, wow.
COO, run the classes, and they beef up in the summertime,
Mm-hmm.
run all different age groups. They've been so successful now that they've had graduates finish college, go in the Marine Corps, get out of the Marine Corps, come back and become instructors.
Oh, wow.
You know, they've been around 35 years. So he's done
Yeah.
a great job doing that. I don't see him very often. Every 5 years, every 10 years. 10 years ago, we got together, 3 or 4 couples, just to tell lies and share camaraderie. And we go to the first group meeting, and we don't even say hello to everybody. It's like Tom and I are still in the bunker. You effing blah, 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 27 Chicago words that I don't understand. You stole my attachments.
Yeah.
I said, you don't understand training. You never understood. I said, Tom, time out. That was 45 years ago, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's the relief in place. I think if you're okay, it might be a good time to take a break.
Yeah, that sounds good. And then we'll come back and jump back in there at the start of the Gulf War.
Well, we're at the speed bump in Desert Shield, sort of at the start. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
All right,
yeah, we'll
AJ.
come back. Thanks, Mike. I'm much appreciated. To all the listeners out there, if you're struggling, need help, anything like that, don't forget the VA does have some great resources. You can always dial 988, press option 1. You can always text 838-255, or you can go to veteranscrisisline.net and click on that chat icon. Any of those options will put you in contact with somebody that can help you out. But remember, one veteran life lost is one too many. I care about you. Mike cares about you. The whole veteran community cares about you. So please reach out for help. And if you're out there, you're not struggling, reach out to the buddies you served with, ask them how they're doing. And if they need that helping hand, please give it to them. All right, Mike, thank you very much. To all the listeners out there, stay motivated, change your socks.
Elements